Good evening and welcome to the Mancunian Way. My name is Martin, I'm your host, and tonight we are joined by Richie Rich and Moaning Alan.
Morning. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning. Don't worry, I'll be moaning this morning.
Yeah,
excellent.
Until we get on to the first subject. Thief is in the house, 4-0 City for Sunday. Hello, Mingy Wong, how are you? The club and the PL, yes, we're going to talk about that, Mingy Young, in our first topic this evening. Yep, we'll go into it all, I promise you, mate. Only thing I'd say about FFP stuff is that I think it would be weird for the club to be spending all the money on signings, stadium expansion, if they were guilty. Well, Everton have built a new stadium. They were guilty. I think I'd say Chroma best.
Correct.
Only Blue in the Village. Evening, Martin and all Blues. Good evening, Pardo Oaks. Good evening, DC. Hope you are well. Did you hear what Simon Jordan said on talk show? Yeah, I don't watch it anymore, Cade. Can't be bothered with it. It's a load of garbage, mate. In 2 years, you will find out you mess with the wrong people. Yeah, so Alan's going to have a meltdown now for the next 2 years. I don't know how he's going to cope. He was having a meltdown.
I did see Simon Jordan's. I did see Simon Jordan's talk sport thing this morning in the World Cup, and half of it I agree with. So,
well, you would, Alan, because you don't like Manchester City.
No, I do.
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if there isn't an independent regulator before that time's up anyway. So,
yeah,
it's just
I agree as well. It needs to happen.
Evening Blues, hope all are well avoiding the current cold and flu bugs going round. Yeah, I hope everyone is feeling fit and proper. I have got some breaking transfer news as well that I got an hour before we came on air.
Did you?
It's not good news. Hey up, boys and girls. Stephen, how are you, mate? Decision time for FFP. What?
Who's leaving?
Haaland's going to Everton.
Alan, can I get through the comments and I'll get to it? Hello, Blue Bill Roots. How are you, Big Morgan? Good evening, Sean. Lovely to see you, mate. Hope you're having a lovely Thursday. Hi, Martin. What is it about Spurs and City? They announced after Spurs the charges, and now before the Spurs, they've announced the hearing dates. Yeah, it is a bit because Spurs were the main antagonist behind the 115, Daniel Levy. So it's why you'll always get Spurs and City mentioned, but Spurs don't want to be put into that category. Evening, mooning guys, morning Alan, Sir Alan, moaning Alan, bollocks to you, morning Alan. Gabriel Moscado is the Rodri backup we all want. It looks like it might be Andre from Fluminense. Who is the guy? Evening Blues, Jess, how are you, mate? Sir Alan the Torah. We're not doing politics. 4-1 City. Yeah, look at Alan there, yeah. They've wrecked the UK, but I'm going to cheer them on. Yes, Blues. Good evening, Blues. Hello, BB. How are you, mate? Good evening, Alan and Rick. Rick? I'm having that. Rick, we're having that.
Rico.
Yeah, Rick. Rick rolled.
Rico.
Never want to give you up. Never want to let no. Alan going to be in doomsday mode until 2025. Oh, you know it. If we dropped interest in Paqueta is signing a new deal at West Ham. Paqueta is off the table. Hello, everyone. Hello, Julia. Just drop that in there. But Lucas Paqueta is going to sign a new contract at West Ham, it seems.
Well, that just increases the price then, doesn't it?
Nope. They're going to take the release clause out. He's going to get 200 grand a week.
Well, that's the transfer going for January, then, isn't it?
Well, why? We only got one player we can buy.
No, in January, teams don't let players go, mate, in January.
They're doing South America, mate. Should not all City fans want the trial to be open public trial? Secret tribunals determined by Premier League, not Dodger. Listen, if you know how many actual independent trials go on that I've done behind the public eye and you have no idea they've gone on, you'd be amazed.
Yeah, and it's the Premier League's the prosecutor, not the trial. The trial is the independent body. The Premier League.
City spent 8 months keeping it. City spent 8 months getting an injunction to make it private as well. So let's get it right.
And the Premier League.
Yeah,
Alan.
But Alan only wants to believe what Simon Jordan, I bankrupt my football club, does.
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe everything he said.
Both. When the Daily Mail fought for it to be released, the Premier League and Manchester City both wanted confidentiality.
So that is the late breaking news. I did a speech the other day, and a West Ham fan came in. And listen, I have no problem with other fans coming in, but he came in rather aggressively and rather nastily, telling me that this, that, and the other. And it has changed. He's going to sign a new contract at West Ham. It looks like so. Paqueta is off the table, but it does look like Manchester City are going. Well, they've been offered. Andre, 22 years old, from Fluminense. They're going to try and do the deal over in Saudi Arabia in December while they're over there. Hang on. Right, this is the message I got. No, it's not that he's getting... hang on. No, he's not getting a new deal. Just the board and the gaffer and Pep are annoyed with waiting. So some are saying about two. Someone tell me it's a new contract, and some are saying that they don't want to wait.
Who's this?
City. Because it looks like his FA trial, his FA charges won't be done by January. And as I told everyone, City want to buy in January.
Fair enough.
So it looks like they're just going to move on. Yeah, Andre, the reason why the Andre deals come up is because Liverpool, Arsenal and Fulham are all after him. Fulham look like they were the favourites. They've apparently, I think they've put the bid in. Liverpool are waiting behind the scenes to put the bid in, and Arsenal want him as well. So, but we've got, what's his name? KK. As a little bit of a kicker in the deal, I think at some point, maybe. So, yeah, it looks like Andre from Fluminense might be somebody to keep an eye on.
Okay.
And he would be someone who comes in to go and do a Rodri role.
Okay. Would he stay in Brazil till the end of their season? Or
nope,
not?
He'd be straight in. He'd be over there.
Right. Okay.
He's not coming in. He's not coming in to go out on loan. He'll come in and be part of it.
Okay.
So Paqueta is a no deal in January because we can't wait. We're moving on. There you go. Or some will say new deal, but City looks like they're distancing themselves now because apparently I think they were hoping the FA charges were going to be done by January. It looks like they're not.
Well, forget him.
And City don't want to wait forever and ever and ever.
Fair enough.
Anyway, good evening, Shedders. Lovely to see you, mate. Long time no see. We are trying our best, Shedders, trying to get to 3,000 subscribers as quick as we can. We're only a small channel, but we are a lovely channel. What about Phillips? Is he actually going or what? Yes, looks like Phillips will be going because I don't know if you know, Phillips' partner is pregnant or just had a baby. One of the two, I don't know which one it is, but she's either pregnant or just had a baby. So I don't think, I think they want to go and settle somewhere.
That's fair. Is he going to be on loan or is he going to be a full-time?
No, well, they'll do a loan as long as they've got an obligation to buy.
Yeah, because they were talking about a loan at Newcastle, weren't they?
Yeah, but it'll have to be an obligation to buy.
Yeah, it'd have to be because it's no good going there and taking that lad's place for 6 months and then coming back. You know,
we can, Cade, but I don't think they will. I think they're drawing a line under it. But to be fair, they drew a line under Nunes and they drew a line under Laporte and they drew a line under many, many players and went back.
Right.
They drew a line under Paqueta, if you remember.
Yeah, about 5 times. Yeah,
so I don't know if he hasn't, but apparently Gerard Bowen has just signed a new deal at West Ham and they're wanting to give him 200 grand a week and sort of matching his wages to be one of the highest.
I've heard that Paqueta's the new Isco. We're just going to call him. We'll just call him Isco Junior.
The Premier League will have to find us guilty of something, just save face. Hopefully it'll be something trivial. Well, we'll talk about it. Anyway, let's get into it. I will come back to your comments in a minute. So the trial date is set. Manchester City's fate has been put in stone now in terms of dates when we will know. The trial or the independent hearing will be heard in autumn 2024. So you're looking this time next year, just a little bit before. And apparently the evidence is that big and that long, and the amount of things we've got to go through, they will not hear anything until around about summer 2025 is when the actual
Pep's contract is finished. And Pep's contract's finished in that period as well.
If he doesn't sign a new one in between, Alan.
Yeah.
But it was really weird because I was listening to someone earlier on and someone sent me a message going, you're going to lose your owners, you're going to lose your players, you're going to get a transfer ban, your owners will have to be forced to sell, you'll get deducted points, you'll lose all your trophies. I said, why don't you just deal? I said, what's next? They're going to take the stadium off us? Because they're not going to make us sell every single player, then put us on a transfer ban, because then we ain't got no Manchester City anymore. We ain't no team anymore. We're gone then.
There's a lot of absolute lot of nonsense. Like, there's all these people going about, oh, you'll be relegated to the National League now.
Apparently, we're going
Premier League
distance.
Yeah, the Premier League only has power to relegate us to the Championship, and the Championship is absolutely desperate to get an Everton, Chelsea, Manchester City in, because it's a cash cow and it takes money out. It takes money out of the Premier League into the Championship. There's probably a host of TV people waiting to make a show which will pay for half the money that we'll miss out on. I mean, it's just the longer it goes on and the more people come out with all this hyperbole, the more actually it helps City. And honestly,
Netflix will do a $100 million deal.
The fact is now that people saying City want to delay it. I suspect once it's going to trial, City will want it ASAP, because we've been working on these documents for 15 years. We've cleared ourselves from most of these documents with UEFA in 14, and then again with CAS in, was it 21? And now the Premier League wants to go through all this, and they will have millions of documents to go through, which there may or may not be a slightly smoking gun, and then there may be nothing, but they've got to go through them all. We know exactly what they all are because we've already had to deal with them all for CAS. So, it's any delay is in the Premier League's favour, not in City's favour, and it's very much they've got to prove the case. They've got to find evidence that doesn't currently exist in the public eye. So they've got to find evidence that isn't evidence that's been seen, because the evidence that's been seen has gone before a court and been dismissed. And there's no way the most eminent barristers in the land are basically going to put themselves, above a court and against effectively a sovereign government and our own government. It's just the nonsense, though. It's just ridiculous, and the fact people like Simon Jordan are allowed to peddle so much of it is
7 years, Rich. 7 years, Rich.
It's a nonsense.
7 years. But Alan's in meltdown.
Yeah, but it's
just thinking of phone calls being Rich and you're going to have, mate. I'll be texting you during the night, and Rich, we were talking about it last night.
Yeah. I will be turning my phone off.
And there's all these experts as well, and no one. I mean, there's all these self-appointed experts, be they in the media speaking against it, and we have a few of our own experts. No one knows. The case is locked down in so much legal secrecy. Well, the case is locked down in finance, not in financial fair play or football or anything like that.
Listen, Rich, you just think of all the debating text messages you can do with Leo Turner for the next 2.5 years. Hey?
Anyway, I'm just sorry, gentlemen. I just got to read this out. Kelkster, thank you so much for your very generous super chat, mate. Move Jack to the midfield, buy another winger. Possibly. Whether he'll do that, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah,
it is a possibility. But I mean, Alan, I don't want to ask this question, Rich. I really don't.
Yeah.
For Manchester City, look at it in this way: for Manchester City to openly agree on a date, because by the way, City and the Premier League will have had to have agreed this, Alan.
Okay, yeah.
They will have had to have sit down and done this.
Yeah.
For City to do that, City aren't hiding away from this. They're still standing by what they said. We're open to go through all this.
But listen, let's get this after straight. I know you moan at me and shit like that, and you say I moan. I want City to be innocent, right? I want to be not given.
Stop there. No, stop there. Stop there. You just said you don't moan.
All right.
Ask anyone in the comments whether you moan. You lying bad.
Right, let me just speak. I want City to be not guilty, as Rich told me last night. Be given not. I do want that. Of course, I do. But if we have got a case to answer, and we have done things wrong, and we have cheated, and someone who's played sport at a good level, one thing I cannot stand is anyone cheating at sport. I don't like it. Like the Aussie cricket team cheat regularly at playing cricket, and they do. I just don't like. If we have cheated, then I want us to be punished, and the people responsible for cheating should be fired. Simple as that, because the people that run our club, the execs, I'm not talking about the owners, the execs run our club.
The owners, it is the owners. It is, what we do is from the top. You can't go.
I want our club to be run properly, and we've been saying our club's been the best run club in the country for the last 10 years. Let's hope we can prove that.
So, Alan, can I ask you a question? Because this is where I completely differ with you. Is that if in a sport, let's say, right, we're playing the Ashes, and because Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad are the best seam bowlers in the world, World Cricket comes in and makes a new rule that bans you from actually, if the ball swings more than 3 inches, it's a no ball, and we're going to change the rule to not allow wickets to have any any damp in them, and we're going to so if you fundamentally you have a sport and a group within that sport try to change the rules to cheat and stop other people playing that sport at an even level, then and you had this when women weren't allowed to run marathons because it was seen as that they weren't capable of running a marathon, and the first female marathon runners disguised themselves as men to run a marathon. Now that's cheating, but it's not cheating. There's a rule in place that's absolutely stupid, and it's been designed for the reason of stopping people doing what they're quite capable of doing. So rules were brought in, and Peter Reid absolutely nailed this. Rules were brought in
he did.
So that United particularly, and Liverpool to an extent, could ferret out money to their owners and make a profit and take money out of the game, take money out of football, let their stadium crumble, let what was unquestionably 20 years ago by far the biggest club on and off the pitch in the world crumble and become the joke it is today, where you go there and
American owners for you,
roof onto your head. So American owners come in and they try to cheat. A bit like the Democratic Republic of North Korea call themselves democratic. They put in financial fair play, implying it's about fair play. It's not about fair play. It's about stopping anyone. It was basically there to try and stop anyone who wasn't in the Champions League and getting the Champions League money from ever having a chance to compete and get in the Champions League. So to me, that is blatant cheating. It's not cheating because you're so high up, you're the ones who write the rules, you're the ones who write the laws. But if we're in charge or someone's in charge and they change the rules to favor themselves because they have the power to do that and to penalize other people from fair competition, that's cheating. So first and foremost, on the basis of what you're saying about cheating. If you have rules that are completely fair for everyone, like you do in cricket, and someone cheats, I agree with you. Morally, that is a very clear-cut issue. It's clear rules, they're fair for everyone, you're cheating. But if someone comes in and tries to fix the rules and tries to change things and tries to make it unfair and tries to put in rules to scupper anyone else for competing, for you to try and push as hard as you can against those rules and do things, I don't think is anything like the cheating you're talking about. I don't think it's the same thing. It's saying, well, and I'm not defending the wealth in football, because I do think there's a problem in football. It's 20 billionaires, or some of them who are countries and some of them who are semi-countries, owning English Premier League, or English and Welsh at times Premier League. And that is, but to say there isn't cheating on the other side and that there isn't fiddling on the other side, I think isn't right. So
I agree.
I think
everyone. I agree.
I'm out of this one tonight. I'm letting Rich and Alan.
I agree totally with you, Richard, about that. But the one thing I will say to you is that the clubs behind these charges, i.e. Tottenham, United, Liverpool, Arsenal, are the main contaminants behind it. They want the power, which I agree, they do want the power in the league, and they do, right?
And they've lost it. As the votes last week showed, they've lost the power.
But they, ever since we got that verdict at CAS, they are determined, no matter what, to ban us. Because
right, okay, Alan, let me ask you a question. So what evidence have they got which CAS hasn't got?
We don't know.
What evidence have they got which CAS didn't have?
Martin, no one knows what evidence they've got. Or what,
no, I'm asking a question. What do you think then?
No, I don't know. I don't know, mate, because at the end of the day, that we all saw the reaction of those clubs I've mentioned when we got the CAS verdict of not guilty, and we just got charged with non-cooperation. Now, once this verdict comes out, they recommend to the Premier League that it was either guilty or they give a recommendation. Then it's the Premier League that come out. And what's to say that these clubs will if they find the verdict that we are not guilty, they will ban us no matter what of something just to get what
they can't, Alan. They can't. The punishment does not come from the Premier League. The punishment comes from the independent tribunal.
Well, I don't trust them, mate. I don't. It's not independent.
Right. Hang on. Let's get. Why don't you trust them?
Because I think it's one big conspiracy theory that they want to do Man City.
Do you know what, Alan? If there's a conspiracy theory, it will be in favour of City, not against us. Because when you look at all the people in this thing that could be conspiring, the ultimate thing is that in the UK, tens of billions of investment and vital foreign policy in the Middle East is utterly dependent on the UK's relationship with
I agree with you.
With the UAE and Saudi and things. And this is the economic security of tens and tens of thousands of jobs. It's tens and tens of billions of money coming into the UK. And it's incredibly strategically important. Those are countries that, in particular, Russia and China, are trying to get far more influence over, get more control over world oil, and change the balance of power. So they are incredibly important. When Mansour came over to the Queen's funeral, he met with 3 of the 4 most senior members of government.
I agree.
Because it's that important a figure. So if there's conspiracies, the conspiracies are not going to be ultimately in this game, United, Arsenal, Liverpool are quite small players. When you're talking about the league as a whole, when you're talking about sovereign countries, when you talk about the British government, there's conspiracies. They're going to help City. They're not going to hurt City. And that's the point. And ultimately, those 3 clubs don't have any power to influence this other than if they want to change further rules. If they can get 14 clubs to agree to rule changes, they can get rule changes made. They tried twice last week to get rule changes, and they failed both times.
Oh, they changed the rules every year.
Over the last 3 years, and this is probably Richard Masters, who I would suggest the job is way out of his You know, well, or just because when Richard Scudamore was there, every vote seemed to be 20-0 or 19-1. The Premier League seemed to be organised last week on 2 votes that actually, to me, looked like, you looked at those votes and you thought, well, it should be 18-2. There's really only City and Newcastle who could possibly gain from these votes. They were, what, 12 and 13, I think they got in the 2 votes. So they could not even count. And of the 12 and 13, there were clubs who expressed they weren't really happy to be voting that way.
Right.
And they changed their mind.
1 minute, Rich. I'm just going to jump in. People going, it's anti-competition. Like, yes, right, okay, yes, you can say that. The difference is, though, the Premier League is a members club. This is what the Premier League are arguing. What they're saying is, you sign up to their rules, and they're not laws. We need to come away from this law stuff. They're rules and regulations. Yeah. Like this thing of cheating also needs to go. No one is saying City have cheated. What they're saying is, have they broken the rules? Let's take this cheating nonsense out of this thing. Yeah. Everton didn't cheat. City aren't cheating. What they're investigating is, did they break the Premier League rules? So, for example, people are saying, so it's why the Premier League are arguing. Do you know when they said about UK law, that there's a 6-year...
contract law.
Yeah, contract law. The Premier League are arguing that's not in play because the Premier League are a separate entity and have got their own rules and regulations. So what the Premier League are arguing is, we trump contract law because you signed up to a private members club. That is what the Premier League is.
Well, the distinction, Martin, is that is the case because the Premier League is the Premier League. But it is the contract. We sign an agreement with the Premier League, and that is the terms of the contract. Yeah. So but that contract can't. Martin, that contract can't breach UK law, though. So, for example,
League are arguing. Their lawyers are arguing that the contract law doesn't come into it because it's like
they can't
members club.
If they do something in punishing City that breaks the law of the land, they can't do it. That can then go to court.
Remember what they said. This is why City then can go to High Court.
Absolutely, it will go to
that.
That's my point.
Not on the verdict. They can only go to the High Court if the Premier League or the tribunal breach the law of the land.
Sorry, I just need to get, because some people are renewing and putting super chats in. We will always prioritize them. I do apologize, gentlemen. Kay, thank you for renewing your membership for the 5th month. Don't forget, on Sunday we will be doing our monthly prize draw, where you will get a prize for the end of the month for being a member over at Savage Online, where you can choose a mug, keyring and coaster set, any design of your thing, which we then will pay for. And also don't forget, at Christmas time, we will be giving away a £50 gift voucher for the Manchester City Superstore, which can be used out anywhere around the world. Because we've had a couple of issues with sending stuff abroad. So we're just going to do a voucher which you can get online rather than us posting stuff. But just
hang on. Oh, it was a very interesting point what Richard and you were discussing about contract law. Now, what the Premier League are saying is that we've broken the league rules. That's their contract which we have signed. But it's like signing employment contracts with Richard's company, my company, etc. And the person breaks the rules. At the end of the day, they cannot be. If you go through a lawyer, you've still got to apply the rules of the land and the law of the land. You cannot say
that's what the Premier League are arguing, Alan.
I know.
Alan, let me.
I don't see, but just for both of you, before we talk about this for too long, I don't think anyone suggested that the Premier. I mean, I know there was one comment you mentioned, Mike, but I don't think anyone has seriously suggested that their Premier League contract is in breach of the law of the land. I mean, they could behave in a way and derive a verdict or get information breaking the law of the land, but I don't think anyone's saying the contracts breaking the law of the land, and ultimately salary caps have been, supported.
No, well, what they're saying is that they can't go as far back, Rich, as what they're saying they can go far back to
6 years, isn't it? That's why I think.
Yeah, that's
City's lawyers will argue you can only go back 6 years because the law of the land is 6 years.
That's why I think it'll end up in Supreme Court. We'll go through.
No, Alan. This is what I don't think you're getting. The High Court only comes in afterwards.
Yeah, that's why I think it's going to go through to that eventually. We'll go through 2 tribunals and then it'll go to that.
Alan, I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is what I'm trying to make aware of is the Premier League's argument is they're a private members club. It's not a criminal case, so they're saying you can't then start using criminal law.
Well, they can't because it's contract.
Well, it's not a criminal case. It's not in court. This is what we need to come away. We're not going into court.
We will do eventually.
Right. Well, we made it, but we're not going into court. It's an independent panel. It's not a court.
So, but it's operating effectively like Casted. I mean, it's 3 very senior legal people sitting. The only difference was Cat was those people being appointed as a court. This is those type of people being appointed as a legal tribunal. So I think there's, it won't be too unlike, or it shouldn't be too unlike CAS. 3 very senior independent lawyers appointed to sit and review, and I would assume get paid an absolute fortune for doing it, given what their day rates are.
I know that, Rich. The part I'm making to Alan is, Rich, is the legal stuff comes afterwards.
Yeah,
I think Alan's already on the legal train of winning our court next week.
Because we will put these arguments, our arguments to 3 very senior lawyers.
That's the problem, Kate.
So they will be judging, if anything, they will be making a judgment of whether anything we do or the Premier League does is illegal. So, I think
where we've got to be careful, Rich, because like Kate's put here, I thought there's a real way you can't get info from something hacked or faked. It's not a criminal case law. That's criminal case law.
And that wasn't excluded from UEFA by CAS either.
No, but CAS did say it was used. The exact terminology of it was poisonous tree.
Yeah.
From the poisonous tree. Now,
and it will be acknowledged. It will be acknowledged as such.
But CAS was a court, Rich. This is not a court. This is why I'm trying to. We're not going to court.
But it is going to operate very like that.
It is
will, 3.
Rich. Honestly, mate, I've done criminology. You can't make one a court and one not a court, and then start using law to get around stuff. Doesn't work that way. You can't throw law. Using law.
No, you absolutely can if something is contravening the law of the land.
Why is Mancini right? What they're accusing Mancini of, Rich, is tax fraud. Why has he not been arrested yet?
Because that case is going to go absolutely nowhere. Because the evidence.
Because it's not a legal case. They're just saying you broke the law. You broke their rules.
I know, but
I don't know where the law things come in from.
That charge is going to go up. I think that charge is going to go absolutely nowhere. They haven't even interviewed Mancini.
Really panicking on this law thing, like we're getting an O.J. Simpson sort of case going on here. We're not going in front of a judge with a wig. I don't know where this has come from.
It will happen.
Football.
It will happen.
It's no, Alan. Right. Let me put it this way: your supporters club, Melbourne, is a private club, isn't it? As yours is Sydney, yeah.
Yep.
Right. When you break the supporters club rules, you go in front of a panel, don't you?
Yep.
Right. This is
Alan might know. I wouldn't know.
No, I've been in 3 times.
That's what they're doing with Seta. They're saying the Premier League, you broke our rules. now come in front of our panel and see if you broke our rules. If now the city lawyers may try and use a little bit of legal terminology and all that sort of stuff to get around stuff, but this is the case. We're not being accused of cheating. I don't get, because there's too many YouTubers going, you cheated.
Oh yeah. But Martin, at the same time, if at the same time, if the tribunal determine that something the Premier League is doing is illegal or isn't right to do, the tribunal will call out the Premier League, and the tribunal will say that rule isn't legal, and we're not going to find a verdict based on that. So I think there is a point that the law is relevant, even if what happens is that the rules can be far more detailed than the law, but you still can't. The Premier League still cannot have illegal rules or apply the rules illegally or anything like that. They have to stick to their the legal framework of the country.
But I think people are jumping the gun here when they're talking about we broke laws and this, that, and the other. Up to now, we've just been accused of breaking the Premier League rules.
Yeah, and just say that the statute of limitations.
I'm just trying to. We're at stage one at the minute.
Yeah.
Alan's already got us in the High Court having a fight. This is all I'm saying. We're at High Court stage with Alan.
We will go to that, though. We will go to
that. Because what they're saying is you signed a contract and you've not abided by that contract.
Yeah. And the 6-year statute of limitations isn't that you can't look at anything 6 years. It depends when you find out. It depends what the act is. So fraudulent acts that you only discover, later, the 6 years will not necessarily apply from today back to the time. It isn't a general rule that says you can't look at anything before 2017. It depends on what the issue is, what the circumstance is, when that actually hits the accounts, because the Premier League might be deeming the fact that it's when they hit the accounts, not when the act took place. So there are a lot of complexities even to that. But I think one very, very important thing on this time bound thing in the cash report, and you can read the cash report, and this is where Simon Jordan and a lot of most United fans need to actually learn to read. You will hear time and time again from these people that are the only reason we got cleared was because of time bound. In the cash report, they very clearly said of the substantive matters, Etihad, Etisalat, that they had looked at them, that there was no evidence or no conclusive evidence or no substantive evidence of any wrongdoing, and besides that, they were time bound. So, and the Etihad one,
that's what the argument will be. Yes,
the only one that's really material, the ones that are really material, like Etihad. Etihad was reviewed in 2014 and cleared in 2014 by UEFA directly, not even via CAS. They had two of the big four come in and value the contract and determine that the contract was fair value. And so Etihad was off the table then. It was cleared again in 21 as being fair value. So even if the Premier League came back and said, oh, yeah, well, there was something a bit fishy about this one payment, the fact is it actually had no effect on financial fair play, because City, Sheikh Mansour could sponsor the shirt himself with a picture of himself and Shaky Babes written on it, as long as it's fair value. And so there's a damage that has to take place for us to fail fair play. And so you could prove City's done something wrong, but if it has, in terms of the way a payment is structured, but if it's fair value, then it has no effect on financial fair play. So it actually ultimately has no effect on any of this and would not contribute to any sporting advantage or anything else. And ultimately, if they come in and say all these things, but if none of them derived a sporting advantage, none of them were outside fair value, then actually there is no sporting advantage. There is no damage to any other teams. And a lot of this hyperbole about, oh, you'll be relegated to the Scottish Premier League, becomes
relegation or
an absolute stuff and nonsense.
Anyway, And good evening, mate. Hope you well. I know you're busy, mate. Funny how everyone is going mad at social media experts doing a trial on us, but yet the average City fan seems to know the law. I think this is the problem. I think some are confusing where we're at now in the case. Because the way I have heard some people is like, no offense, Alan, you talk like we're going up for a 20-year stretch for murder.
There's a kangaroo court.
You feel? I feel like we're sat in front of a jury.
Mate, it's about as independent as the Donald Trump court case in New York.
That?
Well,
you could say that about Cass, Alan.
Yeah,
you said that about Cass, and we won.
Yeah,
this is where
you
UEFA have put all these lawyers in, blah blah blah. Because here's the difference. Some part of Oaks just put, how come lawyers are involved? Because they are fighting evidence and rules. Yes, there are laws of the Premier League, rules of the Premier League. It's not a criminal case at the moment. If you've noticed, there was not one policeman at the doors of the Etihad at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
There was no policeman, no detectives roaming around, fingerprinting evidence and asking for all the... There was not one... guy, maybe for now, talking for now, Andy may be right. He's put a comment later on. Maybe that comes down the line. I agree. Maybe it does for the likes of Mancunian and all that. Maybe what they want to do is because what I think what they'll probably do is, and this is just my opinion, if Mancini gets found to have done something wrong, then maybe it gets passed on to the legal element, and then they will take what they need to do with Mancini down that road. Because I just feel like we're going down this road of like people are walking out in handcuffs, and I mean that might be your thing. You might be kinky. I don't know if you're into a bit of handcuffs, by all means. But nobody's walking out the back of the Etihad in a police car in handcuffs.
Martin, I think there's one thing I want to call Alan out on this, because Alan is actually making.
Move on.
Alan's actually, there's no people named yet, so he's not actually yet committing.
No, he's on about the Arsenal fan because it came out in the media that one was. The
person who will actually, help select the judges is an Arsenal fan. Honestly, Alan could find himself. If Alan was someone important, he'd find himself sued for within an inch of his life. But the fact is that you are putting three very, very senior. You're putting three very senior legal people who have become very successful and wealthy because of their legal abilities, and to impugn their character, to think that they are going to throw away their livelihoods, their reputations, their careers in some shady cover-up is just an absolute nonsense. And if Alan said that when those people were named, he could be sued within an inch of his life. So I think we need to be very careful about making comments about individuals who we don't know who they are, and try and suggest that those individuals
He's got rid of them all.
Try and suggest those individuals are going to be crooked. I think it's an absolute nonsense.
You do have to be careful with that, Alan. You could get none of us are naming people. You naming them now.
I don't trust the
Premier League. Alan, I don't want you to get into trouble, mate.
I don't know who they are. You're
sending us an email and you're going to court, mate.
You're falling into a trap that has come about in the last few years, primarily in America, where if you were accused of breaking a law, and that law is a matter of fact and the evidence is factual, if you scream and cry a lot that it's unfair, that there's going to be enough people stupid enough to believe that there's some kind of conspiracy going on when there isn't. This will be tried on the facts put in front of these people, and ultimately it's not that where I think there's something wrong is that the Premier League is the prosecutor.
That's code name in Richie's house. By the way, I've got to put this on. This guy is an absolute lemon, if I've ever known anyone. But Cade put in here that Craig from Anfield Agenda's seen the report. Now, Craig at Anfield Agenda, fair enough. Listen, he works hard, does everything else. But apparently he's seen all the emails. He's seen every single one, word for word. Nobody else has. He
five
has.
Emails. He's seen 5. They're the ones that were released.
No, Alan.
And they're the ones that were in Der Spiegel.
Do you know the 5 emails? You saw nothing before it, nothing after it. So there's no context.
I know.
There's an old saying, context is king. I could send Rich an email, one email. That could say anything I wanted. Rich might have said to me before, oh, send this email out. Going to be a bit of a laugh, this. Watch this. We'll wind them all up. But we don't show that one before.
Mate,
we just show the one after.
I get that. I've seen all the emails from you know who down the road from me.
But they haven't.
I know.
And this Craig has not seen anything.
No, he's not seen anything that's not in the public.
He's talking out of his backside.
Yeah.
The guy couldn't find. The guy can't even go to Anfield because he gets threatened to be beaten up when he goes to Anfield.
Yeah.
His own fan base don't like him.
You know one thing on the emails, like the email that cited the most is the email from Simon Pearce about the Etihad payment, right? And that's thrown up as a massive problem for City. Now, first and foremost, the fair value of that Etihad deal was tested in 14 and cleared in 21. So actually, that Etihad deal gave us no advantage. As such, if it was openly declared as a related party transaction and we had Shaky's face on our kit, it would be fine. So there's actually no sporting. There's actually no possible sporting advantage gleaned from that. So it's irrelevant. Secondly, that email is not from Simon Pearce in his capacity as Manchester City, where his capacity was reasonably limited to being on the board meetings 8 times a year. It was an email that came out of the strategic authority of the UAE. And when that was looked at by the courts, and I think UEFA as well, they deemed that when he's talking about His Highness in the capacity of the UAE, there is only one person you're talking about, and that is the president of the UAE, who was
he's based in Dubai.
Basically, his father, right? Well, no, he's not based in Dubai. He's based in Abu Dhabi, but it's Mansour's father, the leader of the country at the time. It's now his brother, and so that email, which everyone's saying is really thing. Firstly, it isn't from C. Secondly, we've been fair value tested on that. So there is no smoking gun with that email.
Page 78 of the past case, Etihad is of fair market value and has no connection to Sheikh Mansour, Manchester City, A. Doug, no nothing.
Yeah.
That is
so that's about 25-30 of the charges. Etisalat will be another 15. Etisalat was investigated, was completely cleared by CAS. So that's 50 charges gone. Because the Premier League aren't going to find a different version.
It's time to move on, but we've spent far too long on this subject and we're giving it far too much belief. And Alan's already having a meltdown. My word. I don't know where he's going to be in 2 years.
I'm okay, mate. I'm okay. I just wish it was all over.
So
the be-all and end-all, Alan.
Rich last night to calm him down. So are you okay?
Yeah.
No, we were texting last night. He was texting me yesterday. And he was he's obviously been debating with who from just down the road from me. So
but by the way,
the big point is who cares if we get put into the Championship? It would be bloody brilliant. The atmosphere's 5 times better in the Premier League.
We're going to lose all our players. No, we're going to lose all our players. We're going to have a transfer ban. Pep's going to walk. The Sheikh Mansour's getting sold. The stadium's going up for sale. Even though we don't fully own it, but I don't know what's going to happen. But apparently, we're playing on a park with no players because everyone's going to leave. Yeah. What is it people are thinking? You can't make City sell all their players and then put them on a transfer ban because then you've no club.
Yeah.
But I don't know where they're going with this.
Our EDS players would win the Championship. I mean, there's so much quality.
I don't know where they're.
Get them all back from line.
Let's move on. Let's move on to our next subject. And I have changed because we started with that and it came late. I have changed the thumbnail to about the trial day, and I did put a court javel just to have a little bit of a play because I know some will be like, oh, look at this. So I have changed it slightly. But this was going to be our main topic. But obviously, because of the breaking news earlier today, we had to change it to the charges situation. And if you notice, as a channel, we're trying to keep away from it. That's why we've never jumped on anything when people accuse, when Everton got done. We very rarely mentioned it because what'll happen will happen. Everyone else is being fake lawyers and YouTube solicitors and everything else. Let them do what they want to do. It's pointless because it'll just all come out in the wash later on anyway. There's nothing we can do. Worrying about it now will not change anything. If City are guilty, City are guilty, and we'll deal with it as a fan base. We will deal with it as a fan base together. We need to come out of all this. Stop listening to what other rivals want. Do you want United and Arsenal and Liverpool to go, no, City are innocent, aren't we good? No, they want to get rid of us because then they win the league. So I don't know why we're listening to them. Baffles me why we're getting so excited what our rivals think. That's why they're called rivals. But what makes me laugh is United failed FFP bigger than Everton and it got five column inches. Tells you all you need to know, really. Tells you all you need to know. Anyway, what the City want was the main question. Now, this came up because, as we've seen, and I will come back to your comments, promise you, what came up with all this was really came after the Liverpool game, more of, where the atmosphere was flat and crap and not very good. And there was Liverpool fans all over the stadium, in every stand, everywhere. And it came to light, Tommy Zed, who put it on Twitter, is that he knew someone who sold a £60 ticket, put it on City Exchange, and City sold it on for £300.
Well, City did or someone did?
City did.
Right.
City send about 9, I think City did. I will double check that though, but I'm sure he said City did. The Ticket Exchange, I don't know if anyone here who's got seen tickets, you get about 9 messages a week to say, put your ticket on Ticket Exchange. I mean, I haven't had any this week. Since all this, everyone started talking about it. I've not had any messages this week about Ticket Exchange. I wonder why. Because they probably had numerous complaints this week, one by me. So I'm absolutely fine. And by the way, it is not abroad fans' fault. It is not local fans' fault. We should embrace fans from all over the world coming. But what you should encourage fans from around the world doing is coming and embracing the football club. Sing. Buy a pie. Do whatever you want. Don't sit there playing Sudoku. Don't sit there filming it on your iPad. As they showed on Tuesday night, there was a young, I'm not sure if it was Chinese, Asian, but a young lad streaming the City versus RB Leipzig game while commentating on it all the way through. Number one is, I don't know how the hell he got his Wi-Fi signal that good, because the Wi-Fi signal ain't normally that good inside the Etihad. So he must have been in a very good spot. But he managed to live stream the home game. The half and half scarves were up in sales Tuesday night. I should say to Rich, do City need to get a balance there? Are they in danger of alienating their local hardcore fans for fans just coming over to spend 300, 400, 500 quid and have really no interest within Manchester City?
Yeah, I think so, and but I think that's the Premier League all over. I don't think there's a Premier League club who wouldn't take, unfortunately, and this is why relegation from FFP down to the Championship and a much more proper league would be, good fun for the fans, because it would, sort some of this out.
Oh, I love this.
But the fact is, there isn't a Premier League chief executive who, and this is a sad reality, who wouldn't want someone coming in and spending £500 instead of a local fan coming in and spending £35, and that is a sad reality.
I'm sorry, Rich. I'm being really rude. I do apologise. I just need to respond to Lazili on this because I don't think he quite understands. Alan not having a meltdown. I like him to chat about the fact, mate. Listen, we do allow. Me and Rich get the phone calls at 4 a.m. in the morning, mate.
You do. Rich doesn't.
I don't.
Right, you get the text message.
I'm in the same time zone.
I get phone calls at 4 a.m. in the morning, Luzila, of him melting down. So yes, he does have a mental mate. I promise you, he does. He rang me up 2 days ago. We're gonna be put out of man. We're done. We're finished, and we're done. Naming every single person he wanted hung, drawn, and quartered. So yes, he is having a meltdown.
Yeah, and this is the beauty.
This is easy, Alan.
This is the beauty of this. This is why it's a no-lose situation, Martin, because we're now talking about all the things that are really terrible about the Premier League. If we lose FFP, we'll get rid of these things. Like, you know, you don't get as many half and half scarves in the Championship. You don't get tourists coming around the world, and that's the thing. We're in a really true no-lose situation. We can you know, we can get rid of all these things, but yeah, I think the sad reality is the Premier League is now 20 billionaires or countries or whatever else trying to make money from what is very soon going to be $1 billion business, because it's not that long till the top football clubs are turning over £1 billion a year. You know, they're already over $1 billion, I think, US, or close to. So that's the way football is, and it's about getting your most money. I mean, it's and this is true in any sphere of life. You know, you can go and try and, you know, you could have been a Taylor Swift fan for 20 years there at the very beginning, watching her playing in Nashville. Try and get a ticket for a concert now, you won't get one. You know, you could be the most.
Maybe live.
Yeah, it's true in it's true in everything.
I tried to get my Mrs. Madonna tickets, and they're about £500.
Yeah,
but that was from because
you could have been watching her playing when she played in a pub when she was 18 years old, and you wouldn't get her looking. And that's the sad reality of anything.
I know tickets for Take That at the new arena was hundreds. To get onto the bottom level, you were looking at over £200 per person.
Let's talk about what Martin was then about Tuesday night, then the ticket allocations, etc. You know, on the Champions League, it's a lot easier to get tickets than a normal league game, especially when City were already through. Listen, especially
because the season tickets don't. Season tickets for Premier League games.
Let me finish.
Not for Champions League games.
Let me finish. So on Tuesday night, we've already qualified. I reckon the normal City fans that go week in, week out, there was about 40,000 there. The rest of them were open house and sold by the club or to whoever wanted to go. Plus, you have people that work away on midweek, which they do, and don't come back for a rainy night on a Tuesday night and to go back all the way down south. Because a lot of people work away now during the week. They work Birmingham, London, wherever. So you get a lot of tourists on Champions League. It's the same scenario at Old Trafford, exactly the same scenario. I know that for a fact because I used to get tickets for people at work when I was working in Manchester who were United fans because I knew someone at United. It's a lot easier Champions League nights than it is for league games because the season tickets don't apply, which is true. So, and I would suspect it's the same at Liverpool, it's the same at Tottenham, it's the same everywhere.
Okay, yeah. So let me throw this one in. I know this because I was asking someone who knew. Do you know what? You know what Liverpool, Chelsea, and United do?
Go on.
They actually put, like United do this. All their fans who've come in and paid a lot more money and who are not generally locals, they put them up in the gods.
Yeah.
Right up in the gods away from the cameras. We'll
be able to do that when we got this new tier.
Yeah, no, I agree. But is that something maybe City should? Because I think there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with global. I think it's great having fans from all over the world coming.
Yeah, but Patrick going over.
What I find madness is, if you're spending all that money on a flight, a hotel, and this, that, and the other, why would you not want to sing and cheer on your team? Why would you want to go all that way and film?
Like we discussed before, Richard will confirm this. We'll take Aussie as an example, and Patrick will be able to confirm it when you speak to him. They don't sing in Australia at any sport. They don't. They have TV cameras in the Barmy Army when they're over at the MCG or the SCG for the England Greek. They have in the English section because we sing. It's something foreign to them. They don't understand it. They like hearing it, but they get offended really easy. They don't sing. I've been in the MCG when there's been over 100,000 there for a big game on Anzac Day, and trust me, it's like being in church. It's quiet. They don't sing during the game, and it's the first thing my mate said when I took Brendan over to a few games, sort of City games, home and away, which I went to, and Palace. He goes, "Is it the atmosphere always like this?" I went, "Yep. We're at White Hart Lane, that new one in the Champions League." He says the noise is incredible. I've never seen anything like it. And he goes to watch Hawthorn in the AFL every week with big crowds, and they don't sing in Australia. Well, I suspect the same in America. This is different.
Well, I've got some facts for
culture. It's a different culture.
Sub 2 set me a challenge of the day there. Martin, what's percentage of locals compared to day trippers? That you couldn't find out. But what I could find out is I could find the percentage of fans that live within a locality of the stadium. So within I think it's 10 to 20 miles, roughly, is the locality. So and basically, top of the pile is Brentford. 83% of matchgoers live within 7 miles of the G-Tech Community Stadium. The radius covers the vast majority of West London as well as parts of North and South London. Tottenham have 62%. Chelsea only have 56%. Arsenal are basically at 50-50. They're at 55%.
Yep.
Newcastle are at 82%, which is not surprising. You have Wolves at 81, Palace and Bournemouth at 71, Everton and Brighton at 76, Southampton, this is based on last season's figures, by the way. Southampton 75%, Leeds and Villa were 74%. Manchester City was 66%.
Yep.
66%.
You see Tuesday night, though, look at the scenario.
Do you know who the lowest was?
Wet.
Can anyone guess the lowest? Can anyone guess what the lowest percentage was?
42.
49%. They actually had more fans that didn't live near the ground than they did. Can you guess who that team was?
United.
Salford. Liverpool. No, Liverpool.
Well, Ireland go over to Liverpool, don't they?
That's because they're all on the ferry.
United were the second, 53%.
Yeah.
So again, listen, to me, this is not about, I don't care if you're from Manchester or Timbuktu. My point is, come and sing. The club need to do something. Stop.
Just be 1 second.
Filming. If you are filming, a steward should be on you immediately. Listen, I don't mind filming a penalty because we all live in a social media age and you want clicks and ticks and everything else on your TikTok and your Facebook and your Instagram. I get a penalty, but people are filming opposition celebrate. Well, why? But what for?
Mate. When these people go as a tourist to watch the game because they want to go watch the Premier League,
let's take that name away, Alan. You
go to a concert for argument's sake, right? I was at a concert last week in Melbourne, right? And the whole way through, all I saw in front of me, and I was on the pitch, was all I could see was mobile phones with people doing this, all the way through, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, this is a great point about top of the league, and this brings on to Wembley Stadium in the summer. Saw a vlog from Tuesday night, and they asked the fan for a score prediction from a City fan, and they asked who scored. He said KDB.
Yeah.
They don't even know he's injured.
Yeah.
Listen, I have this at Wembley, and again, this is not digging out anyone because, and again, I don't care. We as a channel have encouraged fans from all over the world, but what we've always said is learn about your football club. Learn about the culture, learn about the heritage, learn about the songs, etc., etc. I was at Wembley for the Community Shield, as you know, and some guy had a Phil Foden shirt on. he turned to me and went, "Who's Phil Foden?"
Oh, which is
what can I do at that point? I can't do much.
No, we can't.
He's wearing a Foden shirt and then asked me, which one's Phil Foden? What do I do at that point?
Point him out.
That's not learning. That's just turning up for popcorn on a day out.
They don't.
But it's the problem. And you know, we've done this the other way. Like if I'm on holiday in like the US and there's a chance to get tickets.
You can't send a text. How are people streaming?
Yeah, but the problem is, right? You might be the same. But if I'm on holiday in the US or I'm on holiday somewhere else, and I'm definitely going to go and try and watch what's on locally. You know, I've been to NBA games, baseball games, and ice hockey quite a few times. And you're in town, and if you can get tickets, you go, and you're there paying, you know, good money as a tourist, and we would all do it without thinking twice anywhere else in the world.
I don't like it,
but it is tourist. If I go and watch Calgary or the Yankees or the Mets or the Hawks,
you're not supporting.
True, but I'm still a tourist in a seat.
No, Rich, no.
Hang on, Martin. You've been a tourist supporter and going watching an NFL game in America. So
right, but I didn't sit there saying that I was the biggest fan of Orlando Magic.
That's very that's true. I mean, I wouldn't go and say
I wasn't sat there going, "Look at me." I don't have a clue. I was going for the experience. I wasn't going to claim I was a big Orlando Magic fan.
Yeah. I mean, that is true. There's going as a tourist to see something. You know, I've been to baseball games. I'm not supporting either team because, you know, if I supported, you know, baseball, it's the Blue Jays. And if I'm not watching the Blue Jays,
no, I'm not saying that, mate, because I know there's local fans who tell you to sit down and don't sing. I'm saying it's a problem in general. It's not. That's why I said it's not just fans abroad. It's fans abroad and fans. It's fans abroad who come over just for the day. Then what you call day tripping. They're not Manchester City fans. They're coming to watch a Haaland, or they're coming to watch, like you go to the pictures or the cinema, as you may call it.
Martin, Rich will tell you this and confirm this. I go to the MCG occasionally with my mates to watch an AFL game. I'm not massively into AFL. I don't support any team, but I go just for the experience and go with my friends who are Aussies, who are well into it. And you have 80,000 to 100,000 every week there watching games, and half of the fans don't even support any of the teams. At least 40,000 don't support any of the teams playing, and you have fans sitting next to each other. You also have fans in. If Essendon are playing Collingwood, you have Hawthorn fans in their tops in the stand watching the game. It's bizarre, and you know it's true, isn't it, Rich? And it's like, what's going on? You as a City fan would never sit at Anfield with a Man City top on watching Liverpool against Southampton, would you?
Yeah, well, you can't go to a rugby league game without there being at least one Souths fan in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever game you go to, there's always a South shirt.
It's different. It's just different.
I have no problem with hospitality either. Alan, you've been in hospitality. I have no problem with hospitality, mate. I've no problem.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, even what gets me is Pep Guardiola turns to the Tunnel Club and starts doing that to everyone. Come on. Know your audience, Pep. You've been here long enough now, mate. That ain't the area to throw your arms in. And this isn't a new thing, by the way. Someone made a point of Roy Keane talked about the Prawn Sandwich Brigade many years ago. Is it just success comes in hand with this?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does. Of course it does.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going to watch Man City, the best team in England, and I'm going to sit in the corporate, and they love it. And I used to stand at Old Trafford. Do you know what's going on? Singing, do you know what's going on? To all the Prawn Sandwich fans in the main stand at United. And because that's what it was like. That's what it was like. And we sing it. But when you're successful, you start winning the treble, for argument's sake, people will go and watch City no matter what. They will.
I'm laughing because Andy's playing wind up tonight.
I know he is.
Alan's singing some songs.
Yeah, I won't because I'll swear and I'll offend someone.
Martin, what's the percentage singing odds compared to today's? That I don't know about. I will.
It would be massively different between Europe and the Premier League.
I don't want you to think, mate, where I'm or me or anyone on this channel or anyone is having a go at global fans. We're not. I've said we embrace them, mate. I've always said when any fan wants to come over, I want to take them to Main Road. I want to introduce them. Me and whoever else will go and have a pint with you, take you to Mary D's. What I don't like sub to is the coming over, buying a half and half scarf, sitting in corporate end, not singing, and then saying, "Oh, KDB's going to score," and he's out injured. What I'm saying is just do a little bit of background knowledge. That's all I'm asking. If you're coming just for the day because you're on holiday, fine, not a problem. I did it when I went to America and watched Orlando Magic. I understand it. I get it. But then don't claim to be, don't take that ticket away from someone who's desperate.
And also the other thing I think is important is to differentiate between, day trippers and foreign fans. I mean,
I don't like
there's a group of fans. There's a group of fans who, for about 25 years, have been coming over from Norway to nearly every home game. Spend an absolute fortune and probably spent more time and effort following City than just about anyone in the game, and could not be deeper City fans. But there's also ones who, on holiday in London and they're rich and they come up just to watch the game. But I think the Premier League's miles better than the Champions League for that. When I was back in not last time but the time before, and I went to a Champions League game on the Wednesday and a Premier League game on the Saturday. The Saturday, sitting not far away from where I was actually sat on the Wednesday, the difference in the crowd was amazing. The Premier League was, was still, I'd say, a very high percentage of, what you might call in inverted commas the true fans, Manx and everything else. The crowd for the Champions League was much younger. There were a lot more younger people. There was a lot more diverse crowd. There were people who'd obviously come from, all over because they wanted to see a Champions League semi-final. So it was a very different crowd and a very different atmosphere. I mean, the Premier League game, lots of grumpy Manx behaving like Alan. And the Champions League game, lots of people from France, Italy, Spain, London, or whatever, young, different clubber talking differently. It was a very, very totally different
not just
experience.
Global, it's not just fans abroad though, Rich, because I said again at Wembley, sat behind two lads who wanted to sing, really get into it. Yeah,
I agree.
From the south stand, and they were sat next to a young girl and a mum who were there for the day. They were from London, come for the day to watch the game, and the real and they were all. And this woman was like, "Shut up! You're not allowed." And you do get it. Don't sing. Sit down. So it isn't just fans abroad; it's fans locals as well who are a bit boring and don't want to sing.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, what my whole point of this is I think there has to be a balance. I think City need to find that little bit of a balance between the two, and it's easily done. Because here's the thing, if we do get charged, and we do get, not charged, we're already charged. If we get found guilty and we get demoted down to League Two, those fans won't be there. Some will, like Veta will, Carl will, and others will, but not all of them will. Because there won't be any Champions League nights at that point.
Yep, correct.
So, you know what I mean? You've got to be, you can't bite the hand that feeds you at the same time. So that's why I'm saying there has to be a balance, because I understand in America you can spend $5,000 on a ticket, but that is a different economy, a different country. Manchester is a working class city where people are struggling to put food on the table at the moment. And they're using food banks. Food banks are one of the highest percentages ever in the UK at the moment. There's people in this country right now who are not heating their houses. I'm just saying, City know your audience at the same time. There's a balance. The hotel for me is a balance. Because like we've said, the hotel is not for me, it's for Alan. Hotel ain't for me, mate. I'm 5 minutes up the road. It ain't for me.
And don't forget this for concerts as well, for the new indoor stadium.
Yes, no. But the hotel, like this extension that they're building, you're going to move from the hotel and go straight into the level 2 of that new stand. They're not stupid. You know, it's like when they said, do you remember when they said, well, me and Pat were down at the Etihad. Do you remember when the plans got revealed and they said, oh, come down and give your vote about whether you want it? I walked in and the steward said to me and Pat, it's already been decided. I don't know how they're doing this. We went, what do you mean? He went, well, that's getting knocked down in 3 days. It was already decided. There was no, it was a blue, what they call blue tape thing, basically. It had already been decided. The extension was already going ahead. And everyone was like, it's going to be this blue wall. It's not. It's 2 levels. One of the levels will be corporate, which backs into the hotel. Because you'll be able to come right out the hotel and straight into the stadium.
Yep.
Without going outside.
Yep.
And you'll get a nice plus restaurant and everything else. That's fine. No problem with that. No problem. What City need to do is establish, and they'll get the chance when they have to move people out the north stand. Because when they have to move certain players, fans, so a lot of them fans will want to sit together still with their friends and their family. How are they going to do it if all the season tickets are sold out and all the seats have generally gone? Well, they're not going to be able to move everyone together.
Well, I've spoken to Danny Wilson. The tickets they have over at the end, before the games, are usually a lot of single ones, which a lot of people don't want to sit with the partner or the son or whatever it may be, and it's the single seats that are available, and they're the ones that when you see empty seats, that's what you tend to see at the Etihad. It's the single seats that are not being sold because people don't want to sit on the road; they want to sit with their friends.
Quite true.
Yeah.
I mean, if you sat next to Alan, I'd rather sit on my own. We love him, really. We've got 30,000 plus seasons to get holders to atmosphere. Do you know what? Atmosphere shouldn't. I think what's disappointed people is we won the treble. The atmosphere. Look, Vinicius Jr. said he's never seen an atmosphere like it.
We can turn it up. Well, we can turn it up when we need to. And don't forget, I must admit, when the season started, I was pleased that the season was started. But when we won the treble, I thought, well, we've done everything now.
Yeah, and I think it's increasingly, I think jeopardy for atmosphere. There has to be a downside in the game and an upside in the game, and I honestly think now that until March in the Premier League and until probably the last 16 of the Champions League, if we get someone good, you're not going to get a good atmosphere because you're going to a game. There's no downside to it. You're expecting to win. And so unless you're winning, and playing the best football ever, which we never do early in the season, then, you're actually going to be, the team's going to be playing at or below expectation. If you lose, it's like, shrug your shoulders because you think, well, we're going to come back later in the season, or it's a dead rubber Champions League game because we're already through. So I just think the problem is, and I say this watching on telly, when I'm watching a game at this time of year, I can't get too up or too down about the game because if we lose, it's like, well, it doesn't matter. And if we win, it's like, doesn't matter.
The reason
April or May, that's different.
But what about like Newcastle? Someone's made it. Newcastle do ballots now. So if you're not a season ticket holder, you have to go in a ballot.
Well, Newcastle fill their ground 99% of the time, and all their fans, more or less, all their fans come from Newcastle. It's a
83%.
Yeah, but it's a one-team city as well, like Leeds is.
Yeah, that's a very fair point, Alan. I'll give you that. Just the point I'm making is, listen, the ticket office is a shambles. It's a shambles. The Real Madrid. But what the Real Madrid was basically money grabbing last season, Alan. You know that.
Yeah, no.
When have they ever gone open sale, go?
Yeah.
Never done that. And what shouldn't be happening is there shouldn't be pockets of Liverpool fans or Real Madrid fans all over the stadium. There shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And what upset me is I went to, I don't know if anyone remembers this, I went to, you remember the Fulham game in the FA Cup last season?
Yeah.
There was a United fan there with his kids. And he went, and the reason we know this because he had a big kickoff at half time.
And that's why they've got to stop it, because it's actually not.
How was the United fan getting tickets? Because it was quid a kid.
Yeah.
Bing, in you go. If you're going to do stuff like that, make it where you've got to have a history of going.
Yeah.
So Real Madrid, for example, you've got to have been to 3 or 4 games at the Etihad.
Yeah. Look, I'll give you an example, Martin. I went to the Real Madrid game against Man City in that first semi-final when we got beat 1-0 when Pellegrini was there. I was at that game. And I was in the bar before the game drinking in that square, and there was 5 City fans there that hadn't got tickets. I saw them after the game as I was walking back to the hotel, and they'd been in the game. I said, "Where did you get your tickets from?" And they got the tickets in a bar before the game for all 5 tickets together in the Real Madrid end. And they're all City fans, all with colours on. And there were City fans pocketed everywhere. And they found it really easy to get tickets. Really easy.
Yeah. And you know what? It's actually if you go to Real Madrid, I went to the Santiago Bernabeu, I don't know, five years ago or whatever. Yeah. And we're up quite high and behind the goals. Yeah, absolute tourist. And we were sat next to all these kids from the UK on a school trip. There's about 100, must have been 100, 150 kids, all with their teachers on a school trip, all teenagers, to see Ronaldo play.
Well, this is
it was, and there was not anybody anywhere near us who was a Real Madrid or Atletico Bilbao supporter. It was
I went to
hundreds and hundreds of tourists.
I was in holiday in Spain, Barcelona. I got a ticket online for Barcelona, and I'm sat next to all different types of foreigners. Not one was a Barcelona fan.
No, lads, can we come away from these foreigners and all that? I'm not having a go. We're not here to have a go at foreigners. It's not about having a go at foreigners.
We're foreigners now, so we're foreigners now, Martin. Anyway,
because I'll tell you now, the stadium can be quiet without foreign fans.
Yeah,
it is a general problem
of the Premier League.
My biggest issue is the price of the tickets.
Well, it's not only that, Mars. I've been in the Etihad and it's been dead quiet a load of times when I was living at home, and it's been dead quiet. And there's games where it's really, really loud. I don't know. It's a weird one because it happens.
And to be honest with you, we also mythologize the past as well.
Live in Yorkshire.
Yeah,
you said I live in Yorkshire.
Yeah. I've been to games.
I got back to that one.
Yeah,
I've been a City fan since 1971. I had a season ticket at City for fucking years.
Yeah.
Don't come to that one.
But Alan, I think we also mythologize a little bit because I've been at Main Road when the atmosphere's not been brilliant, and Main Road when the atmosphere's been absolutely electric. I remember Main Road bounced at a lot of games, but it didn't always. There were games at Main Road where we were losing 1-0 to someone crap, and the atmosphere was not that great. But I've been to Main Road when we, beaten Liverpool or playing United and playing, games where we're doing well or the games mattered, and it was absolutely bouncing. It was incredible. I've never experienced an atmosphere like in the Kippax, but at the same time, it wasn't like that every week. You'd go to other games where it was a bit more. The
problem is for me, I think there's a number of things you can look at. I think the point system is a con. This is someone who pays platinum, by the way. I do platinum, so I'm the idiot who does it. But I know it's a con. Because the trouble is, everyone else's tickets points are getting higher as well as mine. So it's like, when I said about Newcastle, and I used the analogy, I said Newcastle got took over. They had all this money, But just because they had money doesn't mean that City and Arsenal and all them are going to stop spending either.
Yeah,
so that gap's always going to be there because that 10-year gap's that 10-year gap. You know what I mean? But the same with points. Your points are never going to get bigger. Now, I did Riz, someone who goes on Andy's channel called Riz, he made a great point, and he got told by someone that said they don't really want season ticket holders anymore because they don't make the money out of season ticket holders. It's not so much the foreign and the locals, the season tickets, that's the problem. We have the highest number of season ticket holders probably in the league nearly. We have more season ticket holders than Liverpool. Not because it's because we choose to sell that amount of season tickets, yeah?
Yeah.
Now the club have gone, oh crap, we could make a bit more money here if we sold them on a match day and did it this way and la. Like someone said to Riz, don't ever give your season ticket up, you'll never get it back.
Well, the thing is,
never go back
with that is if they expand the stadium, they just won't.
Yeah, there's not going to be more season tickets put on.
That and those extra seats will be for tourists, not for anyone.
The Townley for me. The Townley.
Yeah. 1894 are trying. They've got the hands tied. As I got told by someone at the City supporters group, the City supporter line, when you phone up, they said they know it's a problem, but it's a decision that's been made above them.
Okay.
So they're talking Ferran Soriano and all them. So I don't know what the problem is. I don't know, the solution. I don't know what the solution is. There has to be a balance. Just at the moment, the balance isn't there. They're in danger of upsetting the hardcore locals, and we want a nice balance between the two, I think. But what we've got to stop is locals need to not gatekeep, and foreign fans or fans who are from abroad. I'm going to stop this. I really hate the terminology, but fans who are not from Manchester, let's put it that way, also need to embrace Manchester and learn about Manchester City, because we are a very different football club. We're proud of being that different football club from a fan's perspective. From a fan's perspective. Maybe not from the club, because we're not stupid. You don't bring Erling Braut Haaland because you're the ickle Manchester City from 1995 anymore. I'm not saying that. I know we're bigger now. We're European champions. We're the SUPERCUP winners, and we're soon to be World Cup champions. Oh, that's
counting chickens. Sounds so arrogant.
Martin,
sorry. Are the bakers or the butchers going to beat us, Rich?
Correct question for you.
The candlestick makers, mate.
Anyway,
question for you, Martin.
Before we move on,
if we become World Club champions, are you first at the souvenir shop to get that gold badge in the middle of the shirt?
No.
I bet you do. I mean, you're on a stream like that.
No, I've never ever no. I don't know what you think, Kay. I'm not down in that
He will get the celebrity gold canitizer though.
Because he will, yeah.
And the gold flakes on the Costa.
I have a different thing because, as you know, with my dad was a season ticket holder for many, many years, and we were all promised at Main Road, when you move to the new stadium, you will choose your seat and you will never be asked to move. That changed. And my dad, of 70-odd years old, got booted out the Colin Bell stand because they built the Tunnel Club. And he got told, you'll have a discounted seat ticket for a year or two. After that, you've got to pay over $2,500 a season. This is someone who's represented the club, and yeah, but no, I don't agree with it. So yes, I'm a little bit more subjective with it because of my dad. But what it is I have a 14-year-old lad who he's only had a season ticket 2 years. I don't want him to lose it. I want him to take his children, my grandchildren, and then his children, and then I want it to go on forever. But hey, we'll just find out. But City do need to sort it. They need to get a healthy balance.
Well,
right.
They're going to move the family stand, aren't they? That's because they make it safe.
Stop calling it a family stand. It's the North Stand. Why does everyone call it the bloody family stand?
The bottom tier is the family stand.
How do you know?
Because I know.
How?
They're going to move it. You're going to be moved up in the top
How do you
tier.
know from 10,000 miles away?
Oh, you see it. That's one of the empty seats are.
Listen, I keep telling you, your season ticket is Duracell and a remote control. Be quiet.
Listen, my uncle goes with my season ticket, so not problems.
Don't announce that on here, Alan. They'll take it off you, mate. I really wouldn't. And I'm not kidding anymore.
I know.
Because they are actually trying to stop that. I will warn you, that's coming in. They're trying to stop it.
They've been trying to stop it for 20 years.
Yeah, they might start doing it though, Alan.
Yeah.
Because also, City have another thing, I don't know if you know, you've got to have attended 17 out of 19 home games.
Well, he does. He goes to every home game. He goes to every home game.
If you've attended 16 or less, you can't renew your season ticket.
Mate, it's not a problem. He goes to every game.
Alan,
every home game he goes to.
The point is, that's not fair still to do that.
Why? I'm paying for it, and I've had
that
season
ticket. All right, then, Alan. So
I've had that season ticket since I've been going.
No, I'm talking about from my point of view. My point of view is my mother was in hospital. I couldn't go to Liverpool game.
Oh, no.
I'm punished by the football club because my mother had a suspected stroke in hospital.
Well, that's stupid. That's stupid, isn't it? They're just thick, aren't they?
That's what the club do now. Yeah, that's why my complaint went in.
No
this is why I had a massive argument with them.
Well, you're quite right too as well. Yeah.
So, hey ho, this is my point. And because I have disabled parking, and for some reason they sold out of disabled parking after 15 minutes of going on sale for Crystal Palace. Are you having a laugh? Anyway, Spurs Super Sunday. Let's get to the breaking news. We're not playing on Saturday at 3 p.m. Everyone.
Right. It's a nighttime. It's a nighttime game for us on Monday morning. Awful. It's fucking awful.
Sub 2's not an happy bunny today on this one. Tottenham Hotspur, Rich. Sunday afternoon, are you excited for this one? Or with the way we're performing at the moment, are you a little bit apprehensive?
Well, we're performing better than Tottenham are at the moment, and I'm not excited about it because it's at 3:30 a.m.
3:30 a.m. Monday morning.
On a Monday morning. And I've got to work on Monday.
Look at me, fake fan from all over the world. These fans.
So there's nothing bloody worse.
I'm joking before anyone
worse.
The comments.
There's nothing worse than having to get up at 3:30 because you can't get back to crash afterwards. So that's a pain in the backside. I actually think we're top. Spurs are out of form. They're an incredibly open side. So actually we could get to see. Yeah, but we could actually get to see, and I think it's probably something that we're probably better at the moment is actually playing on the break and actually having some space to run into. And actually, I quite like the idea of Haaland, Foden, Alvarez, and Doku with space to run behind and defenders to go behind, etc. And us actually being forced to defend a bit more tightly and a bit more in our own in a slightly more compact space.
But I like that.
Yeah. So actually, I think the way Spurs play at the moment, I think it's the sort of team that we're actually quite suited to playing against, to be honest. And our record against them at home is pretty good. If it was although I must admit, I'd quite like to be playing them at White Hart Lane today, get rid of the bogey and actually beat them and score.
That's what worries, man. Is this a kind of must win because we're at home?
Yeah, but I think I think I'm much more worried about the Villa game. I was a bit more worried about the Liverpool game. I think Spurs will suit City, and I think it's the sort of game we need to get a big game and get fired up and get ourselves back on top. So I think it's a good game to have. I'm just not really happy about the fact it's 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, 3:30.
Just to answer that, Paul, our season ticket points last forever. You're just never going to close the gap. So it's always going to be the same people at the away games. because your gap never closes because they're gaining points as you're gaining points. So because we don't give points anymore for away games. You only get points for home games, which is something else that's very weird.
Is Stones fit? Is Stones fit the weekend?
I don't know, mate. Apparently he is, but they're just taking the time with him.
Yeah. To be honest,
we really miss him. We really do miss him.
Yeah. And we've, I think we talked about it at the very beginning, but we have got to sort out Pep being, Pep's going to have to man up and give Rodri a rest, because if he doesn't, he's going to be out for 6 months and we are going to have a real problem. And,
for who, though, Rich? For who?
I don't care. I would have not played him. It doesn't matter. Care. No, I don't care, because we lose him for 6 months. No, we lose him for 6 months, then we haven't got him. He isn't even an option. We have to. He's got to play against Villa and Spurs. He should not have played against Leipzig.
Rich, he's not going to play.
That was criminal.
They're not playing Phillips.
I'm not calling to play Phillips. I don't care whether you play Rico, Lewis, Guardiola, Bernardo. It doesn't matter. Rodri is absolutely knackered. He needs to rest. Yeah,
I agree. He needs to rest, but there is a problem. Who do you play there?
I think Rodri plays against Spurs and Villa, and then he gets a couple of weeks off. I wouldn't even take him to Saudi Arabia. I'd let him have a holiday, because if we don't, he's going to go down with an injury.
Sorry about that.
We've got a massive problem.
My internet is just.
I sort of agree with you. This is why we discussed it. We need to buy at least 2 players in midfield in January. For me, we do need it big time.
Or be brave enough to play Rico or Guardiola or Stones or whatever it is.
Wayne Pardo says just stop conceding goals. That will happen, Pardo, when we stop this basketball football.
Yeah, I agree.
I said to you, we got told we were going more open.
I love watching Martin. It's like watching
my internet is dying to death. I don't know what is happening here.
It was like watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with the dubbing.
Rich, Alan, can I leave you two to do this while I just reset back up?
Yeah.
Rich, you're in charge, not Alan.
Yeah. Goes without saying. No, but I think
Rich is co-owner.
Yeah, we've got to be brave enough.
I'm just going to go and reset. Apologies, Al.
Yeah, we've got to be brave enough to give Rodri the he needs to get a rest. So
let's say we don't have Stones to play in there, because I think that's what will happen. Who would you put there? Because we have to have someone there.
Well, I think firstly, I think what I'd do is I'd rest Stones for Villa and Spurs so he gets himself properly fit, and play Rodri in those 2 games, because I think they're two.
So who would you play? Who would you play when he's not playing?
I'd play Stones, because I'd have Stones covering Rodri at the moment, but I'd give Stones another 2 games to get himself back, and then rest Rodri for a few weeks. And we won't do it, but and Rodri wouldn't want to do it, but I'd let him have a holiday and not take him to Saudi. But I think the reality is we'll go there. We might rest a few players for the semi-final, and if we get to the final, we'll play the strongest team. But I think we've got to sort it out. And who are the options? Well, I think Pep's not going to play Phillips, so no point even chatting about it. So your options are probably, well, first and foremost, it's Stones, and after Stones, it's probably Bernardo, Kovacic, Rico, definitely. And if you had Rico and Bernardo, or Rico and Kovacic, I think you're starting to get, that experience and that energy together. I'd like to see Rico do it a bit more alongside Rodri, even, because I think against both Liverpool and Chelsea, we did lack a bit of energy and youth and pace in that, right in the heart of midfield. And actually, I'd have liked to see Rico brought on at Chelsea. I think
I agree, because
the game.
The games against Chelsea and the Champions League game the other week, we were so open in midfield. There was no power in midfield at all. And
Rodri's tired, so he's not playing at his best. And he's powerful, but he's not. Rodri's never been about pace and energy.
No.
And I do think that, a few teams at the moment, everyone was about attacking us on the break and things like that. I think at the moment, coaches of other teams are thinking, right, we're going to put some real legs into the centre of midfield because City dominate games from the middle of the park. And if we stick in 2-3 young, energetic, have to be high quality players, obviously. If we stick them in the middle of the park,
honest, do you think
we can go for it.
Do you think Nunez is good enough to be at City? Because I'm still questioning that.
I think he's good enough to be at City, whether he'll succeed or not. I think the problem is he's a very different style of player, and that, and unfortunately, the times we've cried out for a bit of presence in the centre mids, he goes and he's injured. So we didn't even get to see if he could have made a difference at Chelsea or Liverpool, where we lacked in the middle. But
when is he back? When is he back fit?
I've got no idea. I thought he was back fit after the break, but he obviously wasn't. So, the words were that he was fit. So I think we need to solve it. But I think also, ultimately, we've got to get shot of Phillips now in January and get someone in who can, at least cover that role. Whether it's the guy from Fluminense, I can't say.
I don't know anything about it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the point. I don't know, and so I think that is a bit of a problem at the moment, and we knew it before the season started because ultimately, Rodri said in his interview how exhausted he was at the start of the season, and if someone's talking like that in August, you've got an issue, and obviously. In January we do get De Bruyne back, and that adds some dynamism, some energy, and some real quality in midfield.
They're not going to rush him back. No way. It's going to be January.
No, they're right.
No way.
Yeah, but we will have him back in January, and people talking about signings. Ultimately, De Bruyne's been up there, possibly the best attacking midfielder in world football for most of the last 5 years. So getting him back is a new signing for this season, for January. And that will take a huge amount of pressure off everyone. It'll free up other players to get rest. It will free up positions. And to be honest with you, I'm quite optimistic about it in that I've thought, we've talked about this for a few years on this channel and talked about it before that De Bruyne has never really had a proper break. His general fatigue, aside from injuries, must be shocking because he's just played. He's just played and played and played and played. And, I actually think him having had 3-4 months off to really properly rest mentally, physically and everything else, I think could be, I think we could see, a bit of I know he's older, so he's not, we haven't got another 10 years of him, but I think we might see a bit of a swan song for maybe 18 months from De Bruyne, where he comes back and he's actually better than he was because his body is properly rested, and he'll probably be, playing like a 30-year-old, not a 35-year-old when he.
I hope you're right. I must admit, we do miss him on match days massively, and I still think we need to buy. A new type of Gundogan, a younger type. You're not going to get exactly the same, but I still think we miss his influence, especially in tight games. Gundo.
Yeah, we missed a trick. We missed a trick with McAllister because McAllister was that. He's not a Gundogan, but he's kind of a bit like. He's one of the few players who can play 6, 8, 10 like Gundogan can. Yeah, and. I think we missed a trick there. Young, very adaptable midfielder.
And Liverpool played on the cheap because it was a clause, wasn't they? Because they knew about it.
And obviously, it was sealed and done ages before anyone else really got a look in. But no, I think we need to make a signing that gives us a bit more, something to do in midfield. We need to. I'd like to start to see Guardiola, learning the Stones role, because I actually think long term it's Guardiola, not Akanji. I don't think that's really. Akanji's a great player and he's obviously good at passing and everything else, but I see that Guardiola's got to be the one who's going to be the John Stones long term.
Well, I want to say, I think he's a cracking player, Guardiola. I really do. And I think he's got a big future. And hopefully that's with us.
Yeah.
You know, and it's all up for debate at the moment, especially with the charges and stuff of what happens. But
I think if we should probably go back to the team for Saturday, and I think for me the first name on the team sheet is Nathan Ake.
He's brilliant. He's brilliant
for this game because
what a buy! What a buy!
Yeah.
What a buy!
We've got defensive issues, and I think he's the one who's defensively is playing really well. I think whether I'd like to see. I wouldn't actually mind seeing, Akanji get a rest, and because I think we've got to play Diaz. I think even though Diaz has had form problems, I don't think dropping him.
The only form problem he's got is his new girlfriend, which is obviously distracted him.
Well, I've got no idea. It could be any number of things, but I think we need Diaz. I wouldn't mind seeing Diaz and Guardiola this weekend, but
I just think against Tottenham, he likes to play out from the back. I think Akanji will play because we haven't got a John Stones to come out into midfield, so I think he's guaranteed to play. I think Rico will definitely play, and I'm praying to God that he plays. What's it called? He plays the same defence as Tuesday night with Aki in it, because Aki made a huge difference to us at the moment.
Would you play though? Would you be tempted to play? Possibly even Akanji at right back, and play Guardiola left back and Ake.
We have to be very careful. We have to be very careful of Son. That ball over the top down that left hand side, Son will clean us out if Walker starts going walkabout up the other end of the pitch, and he will. We can't play that system at weekend against Tottenham because they will kill us.
So the question is, though, I guess the question is, do you want Ake in the middle or do you want Ake at left back? Because in some ways, I wouldn't mind Ake in the middle the way he's playing at the minute.
I just think he's calming us down at the moment. I really do.
Ake. So I'm quite tempted to go for Akanji right back, Guardiola left back, and Ake and Diaz in the middle. But we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. Diaz
and I must admit, and I'm quite tempted. You talked about Lewis. I'd actually like to see us, instead of going for that, playing Alvarez and Foden and Bernardo and Doku. I'd quite like to see us resting one of those players and playing Lewis maybe instead, but with permission to actually go between that attacking role and that defensive role. I think Lewis can do that, but we'll see. So I think there's a few other players who need a rest. I think. I
just think the squad's a bit light at the moment because of injuries. And I think he has to play his best team against Spurs because I know Spurs have got a few injuries, especially when they've got Eric Dyer at the back. We've got to take advantage of that because he's not a great defender. I'm sorry, but he's not. And they've got a few of their key players out, and they don't have a big squad. The quality of the players that come in are not as good as the players. If they have a first team, Tottenham can beat anybody, but. We've got to get 3 points at the weekend because we've drawn our last couple of games, and it's not. We will really need to get 3 points at the weekend.
So I think that's the big call is going to be, and I think stated who's in defence. I think Rodri will play because I think against Villa and Spurs, Rodri will play, and Villa will be an
tough
even harder game.
Tough at Villa Park. Tough.
But then I guess it's going to come down to, who gets that, who do we play up front? I personally, I would play Doku. I actually thought, Jack looked really unwell against.
He was in. Well, guess me. He was in bed on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
and he played on Tuesday, and apparently he's got
and
a
he
cold.
was. He was pale. He was pale. He was clammy. He was, and fans have had a go at him. I just looked at a player he shouldn't have been playing, and I agree. You know, obviously we rested Doku, and Doku will start against Spurs. I don't think there's any doubt of that. I think Jack needs, you know, some hot chicken soup and some Lucozade or whatever it is we used to be given when we were kids. When we were sick, he needs a few days of rest, and the fans having a go at him.
He needs some Vic on his chest. He needs some Vic on his chest.
Yeah, the fans having a go at him for not playing well when he was so obviously sick was ridiculous. So, you know, he's not going to play. So, yeah, probably it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a decision, you know. I assume Bernardo will play because he always does when it's important. And if he's going to play in that pivot role and kind of swap in midfield, then maybe we don't play Lewis, because I think either he or Lewis needs to play that role. I think, Doku and Haaland play, and then then it's probably a toss up between Alvarez and maybe.
Where'd you play Bernardo? Because he sets the rhythm of the way we play.
I'd play him in midfield. I'd play him.
To me, he has to play midfield because he sets the rhythm. He also does the covering when we lose the ball down that left hand side.
Yeah, I mean, I'd for this game, I'd go Foden on the right, Doku on the left. Haaland.
I agree with some too. By the way, I'm more worried about Villa than I am Tottenham.
Yeah, fine. That's what we we're just saying. That Villa are playing as well or better than anyone in the Premier League at the minute.
We've got a good manager. He fits them like a glove as well, doesn't he?
Listen, I just hope that this basketball football is just a phase because we have injuries.
Yeah, I agree with you, Martin, because if we're too open against these two teams,
what I don't want is, like I said the other night, Rodri's far too exposed on his own. You've got Rodri trying to play 30-yard wonder balls, left, right, and centre like his KDB. And any defence, yes, our defenders have been a bit out of sorts, but any defence will look exposed when they're on their own.
Correct. That's why, to me, Martin, that's why Bernardo has to play midfield. I'm sorry, I'd love to see Foden in there, but Bernardo has, because he does the dirty work as well. He comes back and gets involved in defending.
I am going to ask you a question. We asked this the other night. I know Alan did. Where do you stand on this? We're being very over-reliant or top-heavy on the left. Why are we not going down the right as much? Why are we very left-side reliant at the moment?
Because I think both Phil and Bernardo, who've mainly played on that right, drift inside all the time. They don't. When we're playing Grealish or Doku, they're hugging that touchline, and we're not doing that on the right. The players on the right.
Can I ask you this, Rich? Can I ask you this? We bought Doku to play on the right hand side, correct? And when he plays Grealish on the left and plays Doku on the right, we look a lot more balanced as well, because that means we're going down both sides. But because Doku is playing on the left hand side and Grealish is off the field, we are one, like Martin said, we are one trick pony. So
this is part of the reason for me.
Yeah, Walker's playing
right back and not a right winger.
Yeah, well, he's having to do that because he put Doku on the left hand side when he was bought as a right winger when he was.
But Pep said he can't play as a right winger anymore. Pep sees him in training every day.
That means he's going to have to either play Grealish in the central midfield or play him on the right hand side.
Doesn't, like I said today, and I do think Doku will start. I think Grealish at the minute. I think Doku is number one starter at the minute. I think Grealish is.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, it was criminal. We played Grealish on Tuesday. He was sick. He wasn't well. Pale, he was clammy. Well. He had no energy, and
he looked like he'd had flu. He looked like he'd had flu.
I assume he must have said he was fine when he wasn't. So I'm not saying it's entirely, the club's fault. But Grealish should not have played. And whether that was Jack's telling Pep he was fine, or whether it was Pep telling Jack he needs him to play because Doku
It was
needs
in
to
bed,
rest.
it was in bed Friday,
This-
Saturday, Sunday.
This style of football doesn't suit Jack Grealish.
No, it doesn't. But he was also
Doesn't
sick,
suit him.
and so
So this is why Doku will start in a minute. Maybe at the end of the day is the way I look at it. I think Spurs. You remember Spurs have 11 players out. Spurs play a very high line. They play a high line with Doku, Foden, Bernardo, Alvarez, Haaland. They'll get absolutely mullered.
Well, let's hope that's right. Let's hope, because that's the way Ange plays.
Yes, Villa did well. Yes, I know Tottenham had a couple, 2 or 3 goals offside. But yes, are Spurs dangerous yet? But I just think with the week we've had, with the digs about the atmosphere and everything else, I think Sunday afternoon, 4:30, I think the atmosphere will be bouncing. I expect the Etihad to be back to the Etihad last season, bouncing. And I think the players will have a point to prove.
I think it'll be a bit. Yeah, I agree. I think Spurs are the perfect team for us now. I think, if I had 19 clubs to pick between, I think Spurs at home would be about the best team we could be playing, because they're going to help create. They're going to help create the atmosphere with the way they play. They are, when you watch that game where they lost to Chelsea and they're down to 9 men, and Big Ange still has them. They're trying to win the game.
I love it. Big Ange.
I'd be kicked out of Australia if I didn't call him Big Ange. I genuinely think Spurs are the perfect team for it. We need a big team, a big rival that the fans hate, to get that atmosphere. We need a team that gets the players motivated, and to be honest, a team that has had some good results against us is more likely to do that. And we need a team that's attacking and open and not going to frustrate us, which I don't think they will. So I think
they'll have a go. They'll have a go. I'll tell you that now.
Yeah.
They will have a go.
Of course, they will. They will.
Just on that top of the league, what we're going to stop doing, I said this earlier, stop looking at Grealish and Doku as the same players. They're very different. You have different attributes. What we've got to do, Grealish, though, we have to make a decision at some point, because we said it on Tuesday night. We don't want a Jadon Sancho situation where you end up with a £100 million player on 300 grand a week becoming an albatross around the club's neck.
You told us on Tuesday.
I don't think.
It's time for him to
I
go.
don't think he is. I think
no, Alan. What I said was, if you're not going to play him and he doesn't suit the system anymore, then yes, it would be best, because you can't, as I've just said, you can't bang a £100 million player on 300 grand a week on the bench week in, week out.
But interestingly, right,
Can't do that.
Grealish gets criticised. Grealish gets criticised for being too much about control, too much about keeping the ball, too much about that. And the current team is being criticised for not doing that in midfield. So, for me,
you all wanted wingers. You all wanted pacey wingers.
No, we do. I do want wingers, and I think Doku's fantastic, but it's just why can't Jack play inside?
I agree. I totally agree.
One of those
is he going to drop Alvarez? Is he going to drop Foden? Is he going to drop Bernardo?
All of them are not going to play all the games. Can
I ask you one question? Wasn't Jack bought on the proviso that Bernardo was going that season?
No, we guessed at that, Alan. We guessed at that.
Yeah. But the point is,
nobody knows.
When we're crying out for a bit of control in midfield, let's give him a go. I love
Grealish.
Not against Spurs or Villa.
I love Grealish. What I'm saying is, a lot of the fans have given up on Grealish. Whether you see it in the stadium now, you could see it Tuesday. When Jack was on, everyone was like, oh, and then as soon as Doku got on the pitch, everyone lifted in the stadium. That's just fact of reality now. I'm sorry to say that, but it is, because I love Jack. I'll sit and back
Jack could be playing, in some of these games he could have been playing instead of Alvarez, because Alvarez and Foden,
I agree with you. I agree.
They're too together. It's too open.
We rotate.
Yes, we do.
Really? We haven't.
That's why we won the
rotate.
Yeah, the only time he doesn't rotate is in the last 10 games of the season.
So you tell me. All right, we rotate then. Calvin Phillips played a lot.
Calvin Phillips hasn't played because he's not in that trusted group of players.
That wasn't Rich. Let me get to the question. I got asked the question. I'm just saying this is my debate back. It's only a debate, it's all opinions. Calm down. Sergio Gomez, does he play a lot?
No, he's a bench player.
Oscar Bob, does he play a lot?
Too young.
But Martin, no one has said we rotate a squad of 25. We rotate a squad of 16.
Rick. We have a squad of
18. Akanji, does he play a lot?
Yeah.
Aki, does he play a lot?
More than Gvardiol.
Gvardiol, does he play a lot? Yeah. So we do, you know, Lewis, does he play a lot? Reasonable, yeah. So we do rotate. But
the kid Rich.
Yeah, but you are either on Pep's trusted list or you're not on his trusted list. He rotates his trusted list a lot.
Yeah, he does.
He does not rotate anyone who's not on his trusted list. And when you get injuries, and when you get a trusted, plays a lot. So does Foden. So does Grealish.
I'm not disputing. Like, let's have a look at the minutes here. Oscar Bob 175, Doku 850.
But
this is in the league. No, this is in the league. Julian Alvarez 1,400. Phil Foden 1,493. Haaland 1,690. Kovacic only 956. Nunes 476. Bernardo 1,200. Rodri 1,500 nearly. Kyle Walker over 1,600. Akanji 1,454. Ruben Diaz 1,403. Edison 1,000. So yes, we may rotate one or two, but we're generally that 11 this season has generally been the 11 we've got,
because we've generally had 4 or 5 injuries all season.
Yeah, I'm not Rich. I'm not
if Stones and Kovacic
and that, Rich,
those players who've been injured, Pep will rotate, and he did last season. He whether it's 15, whether it's 17, he has his little list of the people who he trusts, and he'll rotate them an absolute ton. If you're not on that list, and I'd say at the moment, Bob, Phillips, Gomez, etc., aren't on that list, they're only going to play if we're 3 up.
I'd play Grealish. Yeah. I would play Grealish 100%. Yeah. I'd play him in the middle. I'm just saying, Pardo said it's about rotating, and yes, I would agree with that if we've got everyone fit. But from August to now, it generally hasn't been rotated.
And that is where our problem is. Our problem is our squad for practical purposes in the Premier League in Europe is the players Pep trusts. And if that's 16 players and we've got 4 injured, we have a massive problem because we're then rotating between 12.
Yeah, that's it there. Yeah, I'm not.
When they're all fit.
I'm not saying Pardo not wrong. Normally would rotate 100%. But generally at the minute, the reason why players are looking tired is because we generally am taking 11 week in, week out.
Yeah. Because Pep needs to have a couple more trusted players.
This season for me, Rich, is we've took it one season too far for the squad size.
But they've got to be, because the squad thing.
Well, no, I haven't, Julie. I've not given up.
Yeah. But Martin, there's a squad within a squad, because the truth is we could sign 5 more players and have a squad of 25. But if Pep doesn't trust them, they're not really in the squad.
Then don't buy them.
Really going to play. Well, fair point. Fair point.
Why would you buy someone you don't trust then, Rich?
I don't know. Because you think someone in the club thinks it's a good deal and persuades that we're doing it. I don't know.
But listen, I love Grealish and I want Grealish. I'm not saying, when I'm saying, I said if you're not going to play him, if this continues.
But Martin, for me,
you're into a Calvin situation.
When Red Star and Luton happened, I want to see Grealish played in midfield against Red Star and Luton.
No, mate. But again, I'm going to say this. This is my point. Red Star. We're into a Maris situation again.
No, I want to see him played in midfield in a different role to see if he can help bring us a bit of that control back into midfield that I think we lack at the moment. So I would like to see Jack playing in the Gundogan role against Luton and Real Madrid.
Fans now want Doku over Grealish. They like that or not, they do.
Martin, I'm saying I want to see Grealish playing in the Gundogan role against Luton and Red Star.
I agree with you
in that midfield 3. not on the wing. So Doku can play. Or whoever. But I want to see Grealish pushed inside a bit, because I think that's where we're lacking that control. I'm not sure if it, when we signed him, he was a player who could do that, and when we signed him, I thought that's what his job was going to be. And I think against Luton and Red Star, we can take that risk.
This is my issue. Doku's not firing shots off left, right, and centre. You know what I mean? Let's be careful now. Let's not go to Doku is not banging shots in left, right, and centre either.
By the way, I have to drop.
Yeah, so, we're going to end in a minute anyway.
Yeah.
Are we going to win on Sunday, Rich, before you jump? Don't need score.
Yeah, I actually think it's going to be. I'm going to channel. I think it was 1994. Terry Phelan Masterclass 5-2. I'm going for that today. For this weekend, we're going to win 5-2.
Like, you mean the Tottenham game?
Yeah. When we beat them 5-2, wasn't it? Was that 94, 95? Around
94,
then?
95, yeah, because the kid patch was half built. Same season, we beat Everton 4-0.
Yeah, so I'm going for 5-2. We're going to win.
Alan?
It's going to be a bumping atmosphere.
3-1 City.
I'm going 5-0.
Really? At the moment, I'm not confident City can keep a clean sheet.
I agree with that, Jimmy Grimble, but I'm going to go with that. Pep said a couple of weeks back that Doku can't play on the right.
Do you think that City are capable of keeping a clean sheet? Because at the moment, it's not.
No, they're going to concede too.
I'm going 5-0. I'd love Grealish in the middle, 100%. Red Star, Pep should try things. Listen, I'd love Jack in the middle, 100%. I'm not ever saying no. I'm saying a lot of the fans, Pardo. You feel it in the stadium, mate. You do. There was a lot of umming and ahhing and, like, when you get the hissing sort of thing when Grealish was on the ball. And when Doku came on, everyone went, ooh, anyway, right, giddy.
Night, everyone.
Cheers, Rich. Are you back Sunday?
It depends. If it's like I've got, if it's early Sunday night, early Monday morning, yeah.
Yeah, 8 o'clock. We'll be live at 8 or 8:30.
Yeah, something like that I can do. Yeah, I can't do after about 9:30.
Listen, I pray he is, Steve. I pray he is. I don't want him to. I don't want.
Rich, see you later,
I want Jack to do well. I'm begging Jack does well. I'm just saying that you can see the confidence drain out. And this is the problem with Jack. He's had a little bit of the Calvin Phillips. Some fans have turned on him.
Yeah,
this is why I've always said we have to.
That's why I don't like that. We fucking won the treble with him. Do you know what I mean? What did he want?
Because fans, a lot of fans, or some fans, I won't say a lot, because like part of us as I'm generalising, a lot of fans found the controlling football boring.
Well, we won fucking everything.
And Alan, I'm not debating that, mate. I'd have it back tomorrow. Pep, you can't get the likes of Doc. Like, people want Nico Williams and then have controlling football.
I understand what they're saying, but Jack Grealish played out of his skin, especially second half of the season last year, and he was brilliant.
Alan, I agree with you, mate. I totally agree. I'm not debating anything. I'm not denying anything.
We won the fucking treble. Jesus, what do they want?
Because some say football's entertaining, they want an entertainment.
And so we won the lot. We won the treble. We shut United fans up.
Why are you shouting at me?
I'm not. I'm just making.
I agree with the control, mate.
We won everything, and I was sat there with a cigar, drinking champagne at the end of the season, thinking, "My life's complete. My life is complete." You were in tears. I was in tears when we won that final whistle at Champions League, but we all were. What did he want?
How do we know Pep's not going? Fans, do you remember Pep at Chelsea last season when he played the 11 that all the fans wanted?
Yeah.
Remember when he played everyone, he played Cancelo. Remember in last season, at the very start of last season, everyone was like, play Cancelo on the wing, play Cancelo on the wing, play Cancelo on the wing. And we went to Chelsea and we were like just terrible in the first half.
Shocking.
And then second half, he went, right, done this now. I'm going to start doing my controlling football. And we won.
Correct.
He may be doing that now. He just may be going, do you know what? You all want attacking football. I'll give it you. But don't ever moan at me about conceding goals. And then in January, he'll go, right, we're going back to Paraguay now.
Yeah.
Exactly, top of the league. That's what it should be. We need to come away from this. And listen, I get fans love players. I get it. But I just believe in let's back all our players. All of our players.
Absolutely, mate. I think Pep's earned. He's got the right to do what he wants after what he's done to our club.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. If Pep wants to play attacking football, he can play it.
Yeah, I totally.
An injury or something. Yeah, totally agree with you. Stop this chaos, please. I'm with you. We will end up with a bunch of Instagram stars and no trophies one day. Without Jack, we don't win a treble last year. He stat speak. Spot on.
Yep, correct.
No, if you speak to the GA merchants, they'll be bitching when we don't win. Exactly. That's what happens, though, isn't it? Sexy football, but you don't win trophies. Do you remember Monaco a few years back?
Yeah,
correct. Yeah. Martin, what you say? My starting lineup. I do think Jack will not play. I do think it will be Doku. I would like Jack to play, but I think it will be Doku.
The biggest thing that Jack gives us, one is control, and we don't seem to concede too many goals when he's playing. Whereas we have to stop conceding goals, because I'll tell you something now, we won't win the Champions League unless we solve that problem.
The problem is with that, people see a winger and see goals and assists. That's all they see.
Yeah, but if we can see goals in the Champions League, especially in the knockout stages, we're out.
Alan, you're preaching to converted, mate.
Yeah, we're out.
I'm totally with you. You're preaching to converted here. Later, lads. Cheers, Lozili. Thank you very much. Is the problem, though, the fact Doku is thriving in the game being played at different... Exactly. They're not the same players. You're spot on. They're not the same players. They both play very, very separate things. Did I get away tickets for Everton? I haven't even tried, mate. Very hard for me on away games because of my home situation at the moment, Cade. I don't. Agreed, Alan. There's just interest there at the minute, Pardo. There's interest. That's all I know. But there was interest in Paqueta, and that's gone. So there's trouble with transfers. They can change on an instant. But I do think we'll do some business in January. I really do. But Liverpool, I know Arsenal are now interested in Mbappe because of apparently something to do with Emirates own money. Emirates are owed money by the Qataris, and they're going to try and use that money for Mbappe. It's very weird, but I know Arsenal are also monitoring.
So we'll have another investigation if we get him. I promise you.
Why? Just made 712 million, Alan.
Mate, they don't believe we've made that.
I don't care what they believe, Alan. We won the bloody treble.
I agree, mate. I'm 100% behind you, mate. But it's what our opposition.
You're not. You're going into your panic box again. You're back in your panic box.
You'll get Levy from Tottenham screaming and shouting again, and the owners at Liverpool.
Hey, Pedro Porro's back. I agree. Listen, I'm with you, mate. I think there's games where you play Jack, bring Doku on to kill them. Games where you play Doku, get the game 1 or 2 up, and then bring Jack on for the control. But I'm desperate to try Jack in that midfield. Jack in that number 8 slot, I think would be. You know what? We've all cried about Gundogan. Try Jack in the Gundogan role. Telling you.
Yeah, agreed, totally.
Look against Liverpool on our bench. All players important. Injuries and illnesses. Exactly. I just think at the minute, our squad's very thin, and we've got something we've never had in 3 years, a shitload of injuries. I was 50-50 with January window business, but now I think we definitely need signings. Yep. The rest can F off. Paro has not been the sporting. No, he has not. Looks way off it at the moment. What's one more charge, Alan?
Like that comment. That's
one more sleepless night for Alan. That's where I'd play Jack. Julia, Get him in the Gundo role. Get him in the Gundo role. I think Manchester City needs to sign Yamal from Barcelona FC. Reese is here again with his FC24 stuff. Thanks for the great stream. I saw Pat on it. Yeah, he was. Pat's in Lisbon at the moment. That's why he's not been on tonight, but he will be back in Manchester tomorrow or the day after. So I will be catching up with Pat at the weekend. Hope Mick isn't the guest pundit on Saturday. He's gone shit. You can tell he's gone into Sky's back pocket now.
Yes.
Really, Mickey Richards has jumped downhill in a minute. I don't think Jack has the more percent, but let's give it a go. Well, he had the free role at Villa. He wasn't a winger at Villa. He was there sort of 10. Remember, Super Setter? If Phillips goes, we should try and go for the Andre kid, but surely we'll get more minutes than Phillips. We'll see. I will ask about Andre. I will ask if that's actually true. Sporting shot hit both posts tonight. Did not go in. I have no idea where it is. Anyway, we're going to end it there. Thank you to everyone. This has been a bumper show tonight. Big thank you. Don't forget to new members who have joined us as well for the renewal of the members as well, and also the super chat. You are superstars. Thank you so much. We will be back now Sunday night. Sunday night at 8 or 8:30. I will do a short. I need to get more on the shorts. I do apologise. They've not been happening because of my family situation at the moment. There will be a Twitter space tonight. I'm going to do one in about an hour, 11:30, over on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. 11:30, we're going to talk everything Manchester City. So if you want to follow us at Horsey City, come and have your say yourself over on Twitter. Alan will be there, no doubt, having a bitch and a moan, because he does like to come on and have a bitch and a moan on, on the Twitter. So yes, 11:30 over on X. We will be live doing a show. And we'll talk
10 in Australia. If you're watching in Australia, that's 10:30 in the morning.
There you go. Everyone, thank you so much. Do us a big favour, your channel, and the more likes, the more subs, the more it gets pushed out. Get it out there. And don't forget, Sunday, post-match with Spurs, Ozzy will be back as well for that one. And we will do our members' end of the month prize draw. So everyone have a great, great weekend. Look after yourself. Stay safe if you're in the UK under the very cold conditions. And we will see you all very, very soon. And Blues, ignore the crap.
I've just got a text off who from round the corner with another anti-City post.
Exactly. Ignore the crap. Alan doesn't. Yeah. That's why Alan gets stressed.
Yeah.
Take care, all, and we'll see you Sunday night, where hopefully City have bagged themselves another 3 points at home. Take care, all.
See you guys.